The brick did its job. Now both the front and the back of the battery tray is locked down to the top plates on that landing gear stuff. Front and back. I've tried to pull them up. They're there for the duration. And I took the backing tape off the double-sided tape and taped down the ESC right there in the back where the wires were just a little taut, but still had just a little play in them. Nothing tight, not particularly loose. That should work. The SkyHunter sat and cured overnight, and it just really feels good this morning. The battery plate tray locked down to those two pieces of wood, just killer. I cannot pull that apart, front or back. The straps slide front to back exactly like I wanted them to. So this morning I did put the nuts for the places where the wings bolt on. God, I should have taken a picture of that. Yeah, you'll never see it now. On the other side of these holes are some nuts captured in the plastic for the big bolts that go through the wings and then screw down in those holes just like that. Oops. The glue's not dry yet, so I don't want to mess with that too much. I just used U-Hoopor. I used Gorilla Glue to capture the nuts in the plastic, but then U-Hoopor to put those two pieces in, so they're setting up, both of those. Got the electronics to start on. This is just a little case, whatever you want to call it, for the GPS to go right there. This is the GPS. It has to be wired up really before I do much with that. This is the H743 wing version 3 that came yesterday for this. Got to get that over to the sorter station, start wiring on that. This is somewhat interesting. Let me put this camera on a tripod. And this is the little front area for the hatch where I have to put in these two pieces of wood. Oops. And glue magnets in. Well, this seam, some of the U-Hoopor is in the way right there, so I'm going to have to get that out of there. So I'm just going to cut it in the back a little bit, right through the front, and then I'm going to try to cut it up from the surface. Don't know if I'm doing it well. I'm getting a little of the foam, but that's okay. Can you see that little piece of U-Hoopor right there that's staying? U-Hoopor turns out to be very elastic. It's a pretty good glue. And this is the piece that was in there with a little foam on it. Wish probably I hadn't gotten so much foam. But you can see it's movable, elastic. See if I can go ahead and pull it off the foam. But it's really strong. I'm impressed with it. But I did need to get that out of the way of the, so I have a flat place to mount my little wooden pieces. Got to check the rest of that. There's a little hump right there. But right now with the fuselage, there's just a lot of little. See, this isn't a complex task, but it is time consuming. Got to dry fit those in there, make sure they're, and then glue them down. Then after they're glued in, I have to come back and put 2 of the 4 magnets in them and 2 of the magnets in the hatch that goes on that. My rambling point is it's time consuming to do little pieces of work like the hatch for the GPS, these 2 pieces of wood and their associated magnets, the 2 little supports for the wings back there that I glued in. They have to be done. It's just they take a lot of time, and there isn't a lot to show for it for the time it takes. So I'm going to continue on this, and just want to let you know it's going to kind of get a little boring. And the build's going to really slow down. These 2 pieces are glued in with U-hoop ore. I glued 2 of the magnets into the top hatch with U-hoop ore. Just put a little drop under there and then put them in. The thing is I really want these to sit 24 hours, both that and especially these magnets. I don't want to start messing with these and just do it too soon and pull those things right out of there and have to start all over. So the best thing to do is let it sit for 24 hours. So now, aside from putting the GPS in once it's wired up and gluing this down for the GPS, I'm going to let this dry before I put the 2 magnets in here that'll finish this up. Which means that'll be 2 days, because they'll have to dry 24 hours before I'll even want to put the hatch on. There's no magnets right now in the bottom, so. And then the last thing is, there'll have to be a camera system of some kind put on that top hatch. But other than that, there's not much else going on for the fuselage. But these last few steps are going to take 2 days. So I just took the SkyHunter hatch, turned it upside down so it won't touch, and just stuck it on the top for storage and rolled it back so it can sit there for 24 hours. Tomorrow I'll glue in 2 magnets and let it set for 24 hours again. That's just... So in the meantime, I need to take the electronics over to the sorter station and get ready to get started on them. This is the receiver for the SkyHunter Dragon Link for control and telemetry and its associated wiring diagram. And that's been sitting there for a week or more. A month or more. But we'll add these 2 things in to be worked up to put on the fuselage. A short day on the SkyHunter. I won't be doing a whole lot more with it. Need to get the wings down and start looking at what needs to be done on them, because that's where the major part of the work will be until these electronics are ready. Oh boy. Yikes. I took the wings down to start working with them and inspected them, and you can see this wing right here has a little damage to it. Right here in the aileron, there's just a little kind of pooched up. I'll try hot water on that, and once it's been in hot water, see if we can't kind of even that out. That's all I see on that wing. That wing gets a video transmitter. It is behind me in the box, I think. It's a Maytech 1.2 gigahertz Yeah, I'm kind of quiet because look at this one. This one, there's no problem here in the aileron. It's nice and pristine and stuff, but look at this right here. From right there, oops, from right there all the way to there. Looks like I've got a flap down. I mean, Jiminy Cricket. Same thing there. Gonna have to try to. Well, I guess I could cut flaps here and cut flaps on the other side, right? Yeah. So that wasn't exciting to find. Yeah, it's don't really, that little bitty bump right there in the back of that aileron isn't as bad as this rather, and that's a good 7 inches. Yeah, it's exactly 7 inches. Got a nice little turn down to it. And this wing gets the Dragon Link, which is interesting because what I'm going to do, as you can see, I have a really long Dragon Link antenna. It's coax. I can put this well out on the antenna, and the other side is still long enough to hook to the receiver inside the fuselage. I don't know if I should do this or not, but I've got lots of wires to come over from the Dragon Link for telemetry and control. And if I can put that receiver right on the tray near the flight controller, then those wires can be there short as possible, and I'll just have to screw down that antenna connector right there to put the thing together. As you know, the other SkyHunter, I take the tail booms on and off of it rather than take the wings on and off the fuselage. So once it's put together, that all stays together. My worry is the RF. You know, those Dragon Links, they're not inside any kind of a can or anything for RF immunity. I stand corrected. I looked over at the Dragon Link receiver again, and although there's no can on this side, there certainly is on this side. So that might be why the Mini Talon does so good with the receiver so close in there. Maybe I don't have that much RF interference to worry about. It'd be nice to have a equipment tray that slides in and out of the model with everything on it. It's not the way it's going to work out, but that would be nice. So just wanted to correct that little problem. There is an RF can right there. I just really don't know what's going to happen with it that close to the flight controller. The thing is, let me take this off the tripod, is the #1 SkyHunter. Oops, it's star time of year. The #1 SkyHunter, the Dragon Link RX is right here. It's not far from the flight controller in this one, and this one's been flown about 5 times. This is the Dragon Link antenna. I didn't even think about the RF when I did this. I started thinking about it just now when I was thinking about how to do the SkyHunter. So that's what I'm going to attempt. I don't think it's, and a 1.2 video in the other wing, and hopefully I can get the flap relief done so that I don't have a flap on left side of the airplane rolling me right constantly. Oh man. One other small problem I've found: the vertical stabilizers aren't pre-scored anywhere for a rudder or a servo placement. And I don't know why, in my mind I saw them like on the mini SkyHunter, that they were, I don't know if you call it pre-scoring, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. There's a impression of a servo cut out, and then the impression of a. So I think if I'm going to do rudders, I'm going to have to literally take a knife to these both, and boy, I had not noticed that till today. I thought I was going to find a place right here where you could cut to break loose a hinge that was already in this, and there would be a square over here for cutting out for the servo, but there sure isn't. So this project just downshifted again. It was downshifted for years, trying to figure out how to do landing gear for it. One viewer this morning suggested twin motor tractor. That's an excellent suggestion for me right now. Why? Because you got differential thrust on that for steering. It's an excellent idea. Thank you for that. I mean, it's just a killer idea. And just suddenly right now, when I looked at the vertical stabilizers on this, it just became much more killer than it was 4 hours ago when I got up and read the message. These are the carbon fiber rods for the wings where they need to be strengthened. I'll put them in with Gorilla Glue probably. Yeah. One of them goes in this through here before the servo wire goes in to the servo. See, this is the kind of thing. Well, this is completely cut out and just a hinged. It'll have to be worked. I'll work it later. But boy, this vertical stabilizer thing is. So we're gonna downshift. This is the wire that comes with the kit. That it's 54 inches or something like that. Just a 3 conductor DuPont. That's for getting from the flight controller back to this servo right here, which in most of these airplanes, they don't have rudders, so normally that's enough. Boy, I'm just kind of stunned right now thinking about, one more motor. Oh, well, I wouldn't be doing a motor, 2 motors with that big of a prop. Anyway, as you can see, I have been presented with a conundrum. So, going to downshift on this bad boy. I can continue with the wings and the magnets on the fuselage and the electronics, but suddenly the rudder system for steering is even more up in the air. Right, guys, thank you.